Did anybody order a technical video? Because that's what I brought. Let's talk about clothes. I want to model just one t-shirt and have it fit everybody. I do not want to have to model a different t-shirt for men and women, for children and old people, for fat people and skinny people and muscular people, for tall people and short people, for aliens with big heads and aliens with small heads and lizard aliens and wolf aliens. I just want one t-shirt to fit all of them. Oh, how do you do that? Well, there's a reason that in most modern games, male characters can't equip female clothing and female characters can't equip male clothing. It's not because the developers don't want you to cross-dress. It's because the developers would have to make that clothing twice. The men's mesh and the women's mesh are quite different. They're shaped differently. They have different vert counts. They got different loop cuts. They're just not the same mesh. And if you tried to slap a different kind of clothing on, it would look very, very wrong. You'd either have pop through or you'd have the wrong shape body part, depending on how you do it. So it's not going to work. But I need it to work. If only there was some way that this jumpsuit could memorize where it was on the surface of the women's skin, and then be in the same place on the surface of the men's skin. I mean, they're both just skin, right? It's a bipedal life form. It should have the same basic layout, whether it's a giant hulking lizard monster or just some baby. All I need to do is have a key that can say this point on the shoulder of the woman's model is the same point on the shoulder of the men's model, and here's where it is. I need a key that can translate the surface of one mesh into the surface of another mesh. Can't use bones. Those aren't surface related. Surfaces. What's on the surface of every mesh? What's on the skin of every mesh? What indeed? What's on the skin of every mesh? What do we skin? Those you both make human meshes, right? What about? That's right. They both have the same UV mapping. I can use UV mapping as a key. As long as every bipedal life form in the universe has the same UV map, I can use it as a key. And I can translate arbitrarily between any kind of species because I know where their shoulder is. It's right here. Regardless of the species, it still maps to right there. So all I need to do is have one function which finds the UV coordinate on the surface of the woman, which it's already done. That's built right into Unity. And then another function which finds the surface that's related to a UV coordinate, which I just finished doing. In fact, I spent long making these videos, longer trying to make this video than in programming it. Really? Let's take a look. Here's my laboratory. What I am doing is I am moving this block to random UV coordinates. Now, a lot of the UV coordinates are not being used by the body mesh. It doesn't actually, use the whole image. But anytime that it is, you can see it's rapidly and quickly just popping over to wherever it is every 0.05 seconds. It's pretty easy to do, pretty fast. I don't see any problem with this approach. Well, I do see one little problem. I might have neglected to mention it, but you see I have to do it for every vert, and there are 8,534 of them. Well, this is where I could use a little bit of help from you guys. If you are pretty smart, and you know a lot about meshes, maybe you can tell me how to optimize this. The reverse lookup on 8,534 points is 4.377 seconds. Now that doesn't actually finish the math I have to do. It's actually just defaulting to the nearest point rather than to a weighted average depending on the vert distances on the try. But what it is it is actually detecting the full try here. It goes in and it finds the whole try. I just haven't finished calculating the exact position. And the reason I didn't bother is because originally it took 30 seconds and I've been trimming off pieces here and there. Let me show you how it takes when I just return the closest vert and don't try and figure out what try it's using. .15. There's a second delay before it tries, which is why it actually took 4 some odd seconds. But so, in order to map the jumpsuit to any character in the game, it would take about 3 seconds to do it roughly, or about 4.5 seconds to do it well. That's viable, but it's kind of long. Can you think of a better way to do it? Let me take you through how I'm doing it. So, it's pretty easy. First optimization is you don't want to keep getting the triangles, the verts, and the UV. Mesh access is hella expensive. Like, hilariously expensive. So you cache this shit, and that's fine. That's what I've done. I've just cached it. And then what you do is you just find the closest vert. And this is a double feature here, because once you found the closest vert, you can either stop there and return the closest vert, or you can then look through all the tries. And you know for a fact that the try that contains it will probably be, it'll definitely be part of one of the 3 points of the try will be the closest point. I couldn't think of any scenario where a point is contained but is not part of a try that is part of its closest point. I thought of some that were like if you have really exotic layouts where you've got multiple reused coordinates and stuff like that. But for this sort of setup where it's 1-to-1, I couldn't figure any other thing. So it seemed like a really good optimization. And then you just look through, and if the try doesn't contain the closest point, you don't bother with it. If it does contain the closest point, you do some simple math to try and figure out if the point is inside the try. The math is relatively straightforward. If you don't know what it is, then don't worry about it. If you find some really, really fast math to do it, let me know. But even without this, it's still 3 seconds. So if you know of a faster way to find the closest vert, let me know. If you know of a fast way to do any of this, let me know. And if not, I hope you enjoyed my slow, steady progress towards clothing that fits everyone. Have a good one.